everybody. Hello, so thank you for joining us this week. My name is Charles, and I'm with Ravery Sports. And so we'll be happy to go ahead and go over all of this interesting stuff during the Ravens and the Orioles. A lot of stuff happening right now with both teams. The Ravens starting their season, the Orioles ending theirs in a very interesting fashion here at the end. Independent race, September baseball is awesome. So we have that. So a couple things we want to go over with you as well. So we're gonna be again streaming the full stream every week on Facebook and YouTube. So you go to the Ravery Sports uh, Facebook page and you'll be able to watch the whole thing. Also to the Ravery Sports YouTube page on there as well. So definitely go ahead and follow on the Facebook page and go ahead and subscribe on the YouTube page as well. Also, too, we'll be having content available on TikTok and Twitter and Instagram. So those will be a little bit shorter. We won't have full screens on there, but we will have it available every week for you to watch. So I'll be chiming in with a couple comments there all week. Also, too, there, want to let you know about sponsor that we have, somebody that we want to tell you about. Cookie Now. So go ahead and Angel, and I'll go ahead and put the link in, especially on the YouTube page. If you want to go ahead and order some cookies, they were awesome, handmade cookies. Definitely, that's something that we definitely want to go ahead and tell everybody about. So definitely, especially if you're in the Hagerstown area, maybe if you live in Frederick or here in Winchester or anything like that, you want to go ahead and order cookies there. Cookie Now, and we'll go ahead and put the website in there, and we'll go ahead and get that squared away for you. Okay, so and one last thing as well. So definitely also give us an opportunity here to go ahead and we'll go over everything here with the Ravens and the Orioles. Our merchandise store will be opening soon. Okay, so it'll be Raven Sports. We're gonna give you all the details soon. It was hopefully we can be open for the holiday season. Definitely for sure by the beginning of the year, we'll have the full store open. But soon we'll let you know if you are interested in some Ravens and Orioles merchandise, how you can go ahead and get that from us. Okay, so thank you very much for your patience there. We're going to go ahead and get started here with the stream. All right, so we're going to go over a couple things. First, we're going to go over football before we get to the Orioles. So we're happy to go ahead and go over that. The first thing that we want to do is we got a whole NFL season that we're going to go ahead and get started. So what we want to do is we want to go ahead and do our NFL predictions. Now, I'm going to say it right out front. Got to be objective, got to be fair. I did not put the Ravens in the Super Bowl. So let's just say that. We're hoping for that, of course, but I didn't put them there. So, but I had to look at everything objectively. I didn't put them there. But that doesn't mean that I'm not hoping that the Ravens are in the Super Bowl, because I absolutely am hoping that we are in the Super Bowl. So these are our NFL preseason predictions based on what they've done in the offseason, based on what they look like in the preseason, based on what we've seen so far before the season officially starts on Thursday. All right, so we go ahead with the AFC East. I think this is a one-team division for the most part. I think Buffalo is easily the best team in the AFC East. They also, too, got knocked out. Teams that get knocked out, I think, like in a close fashion, they're really hungry, got a little chip on their shoulder all season. I think that's definitely the case with Buffalo. I think Josh Allen is phenomenal. I think slightly overrated. But I mean, I've heard some better than Elway and all that. I think that's a bit much. But easily a top 5 quarterback in the league. He's excellent. I love their safeties, Micah Hyde especially. I really like them. Their defense is very good. A lot of people think it's the best in the league for what that's worth nowadays, defense. But I think they're definitely the class of that division. Miami and New England are pretty close to me. A lot of doom and gloom with the Patriots. I don't think that far below Miami or much different than Miami. In terms of that, I mean, they went to the playoffs last year. They're not bad. They're kind of typical of all the New England teams. They don't really spend money on a whole lot of weapons. They kind of let you see Jackson go. They're kind of about the same. I think Mac Jones though is a solid guy. I think they're below Miami though because of Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill, I love Tyreek Hill. He is a game breaker. He goes ahead and he can tear. He's different than anybody else in the league. There's only one Tyreek Hill, and I think that puts the Dolphins ahead of New England a little bit. They have that explosive quality with them. Uh, but again, I think it's pretty close. If it wouldn't shock me if it wound up the other way. New England was 2 and Miami was 3. The Jets are the 14. Zach Wilson, I'm not sure if he's the answer. Joe Flacco, if he has to play, as much as we love Joe Flacco, he's clearly past his prime at this point. Um, so I think the Jets I felt bad for the Jets. It seemed to do things right, and it still doesn't work. Like I don't think I've seen a team recently. Sometimes it used to be Cincinnati, Arizona for years. They just drafted badly. I mean, they seem to do everything right, but the players just never work out. So I got to put them in fourth. Of course, I have the Ravens winning our division. They lost so many players last year. I think you can't understate that enough. They had all the running backs were gone before the first game. They lost 2 All-Pro corners down the stretch. I mean, Peters was gone the whole season. I think also too they had a lot of issues, injuries just all over the field. So they haven't had them yet, so that's good. I mean, they did lose Charlie Kolar, I think, but they should do that. Cincinnati is very close to Baltimore. Very, very close. Cincinnati's very good. They have the best receiving group. I think T. Higgins, Boyd, and Jamar Chase is the best receiver in the entire league. He's sensational. Their offensive line, I think they may have cleared up their issues. We'll see when the season starts. They did spend a lot of money there. I mean, they did go ahead fix the offensive issue. Joe Mixon is sensational as well. Their offense is very good. Their defense is kind of where I'm not as. They have those 2 Hendrickson, and they have the edge rushers, but they're back in. I'm not liking a lot at all. Their linebackers and secondary, that's going to cost them when they're playing a good offensive team like Baltimore, like the Chargers, like the Bills. I don't know if that's going to work. They looked as good as anybody though last year. I think the only difference between them, can't say during the course of years, they just fell asleep some weeks, inexplicably. So I don't know what to make of that. Why some weeks they just fell asleep. The Steelers are 3rd. Their defense is very good. I think the defense is very good. Watt is outstanding. Mike Fitzpatrick is outstanding. They actually have some pieces on offense, very young pieces, but they're going to go as far as Kenny Pickett can take them. Trubisky starting, I don't think that's a great idea. I would just go ahead and start Kenny Pickett. I mean, you draft him in the first round. I don't know what they're waiting for there. Trubisky is decent. I don't think he was great in camp either. So, but they're going to apparently they haven't announced it, but apparently they're going to start Trubisky at the start. And the Browns, I think, are 4th. This would be very interesting if they actually had Deshaun Watson, but they're not going to have him most of the year. So I don't think you can not have him most of the year and just start controlling set and finish above these 3 good teams. I don't see it. Brissett is not may surprise us, but I don't think that's enough there to go ahead and do it. I think this whole Watson thing is going to bring the team down to because they're going to keep getting asked questions, and I don't think it's going to help them. The South, I like the Titans here. I don't think this is a great division at all. Not like the next one we're going to cover, but I don't think this is a great division at all. I think Tennessee is the best team in the division. I feel pretty good about Tennessee. I mean, I was very impressed with them the way they played when they lost Derrick Henry. They kept rolling right along. I think Mike Vrabel is an outstanding coach. He got that team to play well, a running team without their best runner. Uh, and they played excellent down stretch. I was very impressed. Um, uh, the Jags and the Titans, the 3 and 4, I guess. Um, we don't know. I think there's big question marks with both of those. I think Trevor Lawrence, I mean, can become a good type of lead. I mean, surely they could be right there. And I think Texans, Davis Mills, it was decent last year. We'll see if he's decent when they game plan him and everything this year. But I don't like the Colts as much. Jonathan Taylor is fantastic. He's a star. I think he may have the best 2 backs in the league right here in this division. If there is anything good about this division, the Colts I'm not as big on. I don't think Matt Ryan's going to help them. The owner there, he's this guy. he blamed he blamed Wentz for all the problems, and they have more cap space than anybody every year. The last couple years, you look at who teams have the most cap space. It's the Colts, and he ought to blame that. Why he didn't have enough to beat Jacksonville at the end of the year. I thought that was disgraceful the way he blamed Wentz for the whole thing. When you could have got some more, you could have got him some more help to go ahead and beat Tennessee because you're not even in a tough division. You could do that. So this is the best division in the NFL, without the question. I like the Chargers. The Chargers are outstanding. Their offseason, I think, was fantastic. They went out and got J.C. Jackson, I think, was excellent with New England last year. They went out and got Khalil Mack, who was with the Bears. He's going to be their second best edge rusher. Think of that. So you have an outstanding corner. You got Joey Bosa, and you're going to get Derwin James back, who's an all-pro safety. So that is big time. I mean, getting that kind of defense, and their offense, and I think is outstanding as well. Herbert is as good as you've seen. There's nothing he doesn't do well. He runs well. He throws a deep ball. He's accurate. There's a lot to like there, and I think they're going to have a chip on their shoulder because they lost the last game. The coach is kind of under fire, I guess, because they didn't go far this year. I wouldn't worry about it. I like the Chargers, even in this very, very tough division. The Chiefs, I'm going to drop down to 2. The Tyreek Hill not being there is going to hurt them. I think that's probably what it is. Not as much, I think, as Green Bay losing Devontae Adams. I think, but they're in a tougher division, so it'll be harder for them to overcome that. I think that'll be very difficult for them to overcome. Otherwise, they look pretty much the same, so they should. Mahomes is pretty good. Struggled a bit down the stretch. The schoolyard game, I think, maybe cost him a bit too. Herbert, I think, will be more steady. So that's why I think they'll be in second. The Raiders, I like. They're in third. I think this is the best third place team maybe in the NFL. I think in like, had they been like in the South, I mean, they're right there in the one spot. But they have Devontae Adams. I think recent years, I think he's been the best receiver in the NFL. That's a big deal. They're going to score a lot. They're going to open up the run game, which is a struggle for them a bit. They're having some line trouble, but they kind of shuffle some guys. And I love Max Crosby, especially on the end for them. The defense not quite as good, but I have them in third. That's why they're third and not in the 1 or 2. Denver is 4. I know you got Russell Wilson. I don't like their pieces around Russell Wilson as much as a lot of people seem to. Jerry Jeudy and Sutton, I'm not as convinced. I think everybody's thinking, okay, you get Russell Wilson and you're going to be better, and they should be better. But I don't think they're going to jump higher, too much higher in this division compared to the rest of the teams. This is going to shock some people. I'll put Dallas 1 instead of Philly. Dallas, I know all their problems. They still have the best quarterback in the division. They went and signed Jason Peters the other day because they lost Tyron Smith. I like CeeDee Lamb. the running backs. Everybody's saying there's a problem with the running backs. I don't think it is. I mean, you got two decent backs. That's better than a lot of teams. Philadelphia, I'm just not as sold on Jalen Hurts. Watching him throw the ball, I just can't. He's a bit inaccurate. He runs a lot, and they're giving him the weapons he needs. We're going to find out. I mean, I was kind of thinking that years ago with Josh Allen before he got Stephon Diggs. Maybe that will be the thing to catapult him, but I'm not as sold on that as well. The last two teams are just bad. The Commanders aren't any good. Wentz, I think, is somewhat unfairly scrutinized. I think there's got to be some reason why they're so quick to get rid of him. Stats wise, it doesn't show up. But I think kind of like the whole Matt Ryan thing, with like a worse version of Matt. Like the stats don't show why they're so quick to boot him out the door a couple times. And the Giants and Daniel Jones isn't the answer for him. I don't know why they're still trying. I've watched Daniel Jones a couple years. He's not the answer. I think they've had a lot of injuries too on offense as well. Saquon's been hurt several times. Kenny Galladay's been hurt several times. Their and their defense isn't great. They're even giving Tyrod Taylor snaps at the first team. So that tells you all you need to know right there what they think could happen there. The North, Green Bay, I put them in the top spot. I think this is another division. The whole NFC is not as strong, I think, as it once was, as strong as the AFC is now. Green Bay, I put in the top spot. I got Minnesota in the 2 spot, Chicago 3, and Detroit 4. The Packers, I got to go with Aaron Rodgers. You just have to go with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has been 2 straight years league MVP. Then you got to go with that. But losing Devontae Adams will hurt them. This is kind of why I don't have them as far as Super Bowl. But the defense isn't bad. I mean, they lost some pieces, but the defense is okay. I mean, they still have. They lost Zadarius Smith, but they still have some pieces there on defense. I mean, they did have some injuries as well. So, Chicago and Detroit are Chicago and Detroit. I think Fields has some talent, but they don't have a clue. Maybe the new coach will come in and help them out, but they don't seem to have. It doesn't seem to be clicking from a distance from what I'm seeing. And Detroit just can't do anything right over the years. I mean, I felt if it had been the Ravens, I was like, how do you lose a game on a field goal with that size? Everybody seems to like Campbell, but they don't win. Minnesota, they have a new coach, but I can't pick them over Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay. I think second is where they're gonna be. Cousins just hasn't shown me enough in big games. They're gonna play earlier in the season. Cousins just doesn't win these type games. I can't take them over Green Bay, even though I think Green Bay's diminished a little. This is a very easy division rather than pick. Tampa Bay is easily the number 1 seed here. This kind of reminds me, if you go years ago, of the Niners when they were in the AFC West, and they would spend the whole year beating the stuffing out of the Falcons, et cetera, and the Rams when they were this is what this is. I don't think any of these teams are any good behind that. Tampa, again, a little bit of Brady. Got a weird feeling about what's going on with Brady. Apparently, he's in the meetings having marital issues or whatever that is going on. We don't know. It's alleged, but a couple issues there. It just seems a little off, but I don't think it'll matter in this division. The Saints, Winston, I've never liked them that much. They lost Marcus Williams to the Ravens. I don't see it. I don't see it. I've heard a lot of media say they like the Saints. I'm not as big a fan. Carolina, I think, is interesting. I think they could actually be the 2 team. This is probably, of all the predictions, the one I'm not as sure. I think they might be ahead of the Saints. if they were to stay healthy, if they could get McCaffrey, but I don't know. McCaffrey's not healthy. Baker was banged up a lot last year. They seem to have problem injuries, so I can't. I would think just in that put them ahead of the Saints, and Atlanta's definitely four. You know, they're definitely rebuilding. Kyle Pitts is an outstanding tight end. They're still waiting to get a quarterback. They're going to start Mariota, see how that works, but they're definitely rebuilding. The West and the Rams are the number one seed. Are going to, well, number one seed, well, win the division. I think in the West, the Rams, I think, are as complete a team as you have in the league. Certainly in the NFC, I think the NFC is easier for them. McVay is an outstanding coach. He definitely, and he's got a complete team. I think Allen Robinson, the world's going to get to know him. He's been a very good receiver on a bad Jags team and a bad Bears team, and now he's going to go to a team where he's going to be the number 2 receiver next to Cooper Kupp, who's outstanding. So the Rams really set up for them, and I think the Rams have the best 2 defensive players in the entire NFL on one team. Jalen Ramsey, I think, is outstanding, and Aaron Donald is beyond outstanding. And I think that not only the best 2 defensive players, the best 2 period on any team, Jalen Ramsey and Aaron Donald. So second, I think Arizona. Arizona should finish second. I think they're closer to the Rams if they would have had DeAndre Hopkins the whole year, but they won't. And that's going to be a problem for them. They're going to have to rely on Marquise Brown. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I think they're ahead of San Fran. Trey Lance. This is gonna say a lot about Kyle Shanahan. This is a risk he's taking. Jimmy Garoppolo got him to the championship game last season, and it's a championship game, and he showed him the door. He's on the bench the whole year, if that. And it's going to be very interesting to see how this played out. And Kyle Shanahan's record without Garoppolo, and nobody mentions this, is very good. I mean, he can't really win without him. So that's going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. And the Seahawks, again, they're in total rebuild. Geno Smith, I almost forgot he was in the league. He's going to be their starter, replacing Russell Wilson. I think they're just waiting for the draft. I think they're probably 32 or 32 teams. DK Metcalf, though, is outstanding. I think they're going to build around him on offense. So postseason. So the playoffs, I have the Bills, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Titans, the Chiefs, the Bengals, and the Raiders. I think the Bills get the number 1 seed over the Chargers. I don't necessarily think they have a better roster, but I do believe they have an easier path, if at all possible. The Chargers in the West, I think they'll lose more games than Buffalo, but they're really good. The Rams in NFC playoffs, let's go over that. Rams, Tampa Bay Bucks, the Packers, the Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Eagles, and the Niners. The Rams, I think, they just got to stay motivated. When you have a team that won a Super Bowl, you have to stay motivated. You see a lot of teams, they're not as motivated the second year. So that's the thing that has to happen with them. Tampa, I think there's some diminish there, but I don't think there's anybody to take advantage of it. Kind of the same with Green Bay and same with Dallas. I don't think the rest of the teams in that division, in that conference, is just going to take it from them. I think there's enough there to beat the rest of those teams. The only of that team below 5, I think, that might is Arizona. I think Arizona might have enough there, especially when they get DeAndre Hopkins back. That where they can kind of challenge that. Philly and San Francisco should round it out. San Fran, if Trey Lance is any good, I think they could jump up there as well. So AFC Championship, like I said, unfortunately, I don't have the Raiders. I have the Chargers and the Bills there. I have the Bucks and the Rams in the NFC Super Bowl. I like the Rams over I like the Bills rather over the Rams. Um, the Bills, I think, really have a complete team, and I really think they again that chip on their shoulder that the Rams won't have. I really think that's a thing when your teams, they've kind of been a bridesmaid a couple years in a row now. I think they're really, really hungry all year long to go ahead and do it, and I think they have a lot of talent to go ahead and do it. So there we go. NFL predictions to start the season. So that's how I see it going forward as we start on Thursday. The NFL season. If you're watching this video before the season starts, we're recording this before that. So that is what our NFL predictions are for the whole season. Let's go what we call the Big Five. So these are the best 5 games on the schedule that are not Raven games. So we're going to go over that with you as well. So we're going to go over our NFL Big Five. And again, I think we just talked about this, didn't we? We got the Bills and the Rams. I like the Bills to win the whole thing. If it's not the Ravens, of course, we're hoping for the Ravens, obviously. I think you have the Bills and the Rams here. I like the Rams this week. It's tough to fly across country, and even though it's the first week, it usually doesn't go well for the team on the road in this first game. As good as the Bills are, I think the Rams too. They should be. This is a showcase for them. I think they should go ahead and win the first game. This is again what one thing we talked about, Green Bay playing Minnesota, and Kirk Cousins. This is an opportunity for him to show everybody that that he can win a game like this. Week 1, how the Packers they lost to Darius Smith, they lost to Devontae Adams. Can you go out there and beat Aaron Rodgers in a game like this? I say no. I think it's the Packers winning this first game. The Chefs against the Cardinals. Remember that old commercial, Chefs? You spelled the name wrong. So the Chefs. So the Chefs going against the Arizona Cardinals. I believe I like Arizona in this first game. Arizona's pretty. Arizona is. This is a really tough one to call, but I like Arizona. Arizona has, I think, enough on offense to go ahead and get this done. I think Kansas City, without Tyreek Hill, that's going to hurt them in this first game. I think they'll figure it out, put it together, but they won't have that over the top. And I think the Cardinals definitely do with Marquise in the first game. Very close connection with Kyler Murray and Marquise Brown. Finished the season last year, these two on that Sunday night game. The Raiders wound up winning, getting in the playoffs, sending the Chargers home, and the Chargers are not going to forget about that. I like the Chargers in this game. I like the Chargers a lot all season long. They're definitely going to want to win this first game. I will say, though, having Devontae Adams for the Raiders is a big deal. He is going to really help their offense now because they kind of with their receivers, the teams could kind of like double up on Waller, and you won't be able to do that anymore. You're going to have to look at the outside and look at Devontae Adams. So be very interesting to see what happens there. And the last one here, the Bucks against the Cowboys. I predicted the Cowboys to win the East. I predicted the Bucks to go ahead and win in their division, the South. You got to go with Brady here. I will say, again, with Brady, it seems like there's something off. He kind of took 10 days off. He did retire. Arians kind of left the building. You kind of don't know what's going on. Todd Bowles, there was a problem there. They did lose some guys. I just don't think Dallas has enough to take advantage. They're kind of the same deal. They lost James Washington in preseason. I don't think there's enough there for Dallas to take advantage of the Bucks. You really can't go against Brady. They still have those great receivers. They still have Mike Evans. I think is the best receiver that no one talks about. I think he has 7 or 8 consecutive seasons of 1,000 yards, and like he's never talked about amongst the elite receivers. So they're very good. So I like the Bucks in the first game. All right, so there we go. There's our big five there. Our NFL predictions as well. So that's what's going to be how I see it at the beginning of the season and how I see it the first week. Let's go to our game. The Ravens when they're playing the Jets. Week 1 in the Meadowlands. Definitely want to go over a couple of things. One, for us, the Ravens, Ronnie Stanley was at practice. So I'm recording this on Monday, and he was practicing today for the first time. So that's a big deal if they can have him. I think he'll be on pitch count early, to use the baseball terminology. So I think he'll play a couple snaps. He really didn't do anything a lot preseason. He was rehabbing. I think they're kind of just bringing him along slowly. So that's a good thing to bring him back. I think he plays. That's my opinion. I think he plays a little bit. I don't think he plays every snap unless it's an injury. I think they're going to play Jawan James a lot of the way, or Macchiari a lot of the way. But I think he plays in a game. But they're not going to rush him because they saw what happened last year. He got hurt in the first game and he played all of it. So that's what happened. 2 players to look for on offense. Isaiah Likely. Man, was he fantastic in preseason. And the Ravens, via the circumstance or whatever the reason was that they didn't get receivers, this is what you're going to do. You're going to do Isaiah Likely and Andrews. Let's see how he does in a regular season game. Let's see how he does in an actual game, not in a preseason game when he's being against real defenses and real coverages and it's not all vanilla. So I'm really interested to see how Isaiah Likely does. That's the biggest chance, I think, for an upgrade on their passing game. Researching this, it's been 2017 since we've had anybody with 10 sacks. Judon came close a couple times, and he had it in New England. But it's been a while. This is why I wasn't that sad when Martindale left, because they haven't had anybody with 10 sacks in a while, considering they're blitzing all the time. So we're going to have a new defense. I think they're going to run zone. I think they're going to be slightly more protected. You're not going to see that cover zero all the time like it was. I think Harbaugh had seen enough of that, and even criticized it in the game publicly. So, and let's see how this guy does. Can he get the athleticism with him off the charts? Off the charts. So I think that is something that we're going to go ahead and look at in this first game. I predict Ravens 28, Jets 17. That's going to be my prediction for this game. It may be closer if Flacco plays. If it may be closer than that if Flacco plays. The news today, I was hearing that Zach Wilson may be healthy enough to play. He's going to try and play. I think that's good for the Ravens if he does. I think they're at a hard time with Joe Flacco because even though he's past his prime, etc., he understands the Ravens offense and Lamar and everything they're trying to do more than Zach Wilson would. And we don't know how good Zach Wilson is. So I think that's a good thing for them. So there it is right there, a preview of the game. Every week we're going to go ahead and preview the game. And so we're going to go ahead and get that thing, and we're going to get this taken care of. Every week we're going to preview each individual game. 28-17, I think the Ravens go ahead and take it. All right, so we're going to go ahead and switch to Orioles here. All right, big social media question I had this week was, which of the Orioles has a brighter future? And I did go ahead and go over this topic here on social media, and I did go ahead and get a lot of answers for this. Uh, there was a lot of people there that had differing opinions on it, as usual. Whenever you go to social media and you have these type of questions, so let's go over all three guys. Ryan Mountcastle, I think, was an outstanding minor league player. Kind of had to work his way into the to being a top prospect. He was so good in the minors. I think he stayed a year. Man, that was frustrating watching Chris Davis hit 100 and then having this guy at 300 at AAA. So I think he's in the minors a year longer. This guy hits a ton. He had 33 home runs last year. He's got over 20 this year. I think he's automatically going to be around 30 every year he plays. He's an outstanding hitter, outstanding power hitter. The weakness he has is he's swinging at too much garbage. I think more and more what teams are doing, he's swinging at bad balls, so we're giving him bad balls. So I think that's a thing for him. He's got to go ahead and correct. You can't swing all this garbage and be successful. So I think that's one thing that he definitely has to go ahead and correct going forward. Adley, I think, is as good a prospect to catch a spot as has ever been. Expectations are high. He's been fantastic. Offense, he throws the ball well. He runs well for a catcher. He has great plate discipline. He can hit for power. He might be the best defensive catcher in the league already. So he is as good a prospect as you're going to find, and he's been as good as advertised. A lot of pressure on him. I mean, he's performed well here so far. A little bit of a slow start. Gunnar Henderson is. I was actually surprised he was voted the best prospect early in the year. I can't also remember two number one prospects coming up the same year like I've seen now. So that's very interesting. Gunnar, he kind of reminds me of one when Manny Machado came up. Just jumps off the screen. Or you see him swing the bat, you go, wow. You see him in the field, you go, wow. He's got to work on keeping that helmet on when he hits a home run, getting the right size. He's phenomenal talent. You can see that already. They moved him around. I predict he'll be at third base going forward. I think they're going to preserve him. He may end up at shortstop, but I think it'll be third base. I think they're going to try and preserve his offense, and they're going to keep Mateo or Jordan Westburg, who's still the minors, come up and put him at short. But I think it'll be third base. Although he has looked good, and he's looked good at all three spots. Second, third, and short. I thought he's had great defensive plays in all the spots. So I think the brighter future is Adley. I'm going to agree with most of the social media comments. I think some said Gunnar, most said Adley. There was no love for Mountcastle, which is surprising. I saw some people, they were even like, well, this guy is Chris Davis and this guy is Glenn Davis, and that's a bit much. I think like with all this era of the internet and all these stats and everything, like we're kind of overlooking home runs and RBIs sometimes. I mean, good old home runs and RBIs. And I think this guy hits for power. I don't think he's going to be better than Adley, though. I think Adley is going to have a longer career, and he's going to be better on both sides of the ball, and he's playing, I think, a premium position. That's the thing why I think he's going to have the brighter future. I think he's going to have more. It's going to be tougher for Mountcastle playing first to make All-Star and than it is for Adley. I think Adley is definitely going to be able to do that. Gunnar, though, jumps off the screen. It's a little earlier for him to say whether he's going to be that level of player. So we'll go ahead and we'll find that out. All right. So thank you. So we're going to go over this week. So thank you for going ahead and checking us out this week. So next week we're going to have our next version of the Big Five. We're going to go over the Week 2 games as well. So we're going to be happy to go ahead and do that for you. Also, too, we're going to go ahead and review this game that we're going to have this weekend, the Ravens and the Jets. We're going to go over my thoughts on the game itself. Also, too, the Ravens are going to play their home opener against the Dolphins next week. So we're going to go ahead and check that out. So we're going to go over the key players in that game as well. Each week we're going to have 2 key Ravens that we're going to look at how important they are going to be. And also, too, I want to ask the question next week: how will the Orioles pitching look going forward? You have all these offensive prospects, etc. How is their defense? Not how is the offense? We just went over that. How is the pitching going to look going forward? Are you going to have enough pitching to go ahead and win going forward? So we already have DL Hall up, and Grayson is hurt. So are we going to have enough pitching? Are we going to do enough to get enough pitching? Not only just we're talking about not just down the stretch, but going forward into the next season. All right. So thank you very much for joining us. So definitely go ahead and like and subscribe to our channels. And thank you. And you have a great rest of your evening.